Hello and welcome to Runkle to the Bailey. My name is Ian Runkle. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. Wanted to make a short video to talk about something absolutely crazy that happened in an Ottawa court proceeding. Somebody played porn in open court. Now there's times when this might happen, like if it was evidence or something like that, but that's not what was happening here. It was just being played by somebody who had no business doing so. Let's talk about this. So the backstory on this is a woman by the name of Deanna Sharif gets arrested, and she is a prolific protester. She's somebody who's sort of known for going to multiple different protests, and she's kind of known as a disruptive influence when she's there. She has been accused of hitting people with a megaphone or other objects. She's been accused of using an electric whistle to blast sound at people to cause them injury or discomfort or annoyance or the like. And generally, she's kind of a nuisance in this sense. And so it seems like, in my opinion, she might be the kind of person who really likes going and causing those kinds of disruptions more than she actually cares about the causes. But I don't know. I've never actually met her or talked to her, but the video clips I've seen, which I don't have the copyright to, make her seem like she is a problem. So, lots of people have called for something to be done about her, especially with regards to the allegations of assaults. And finally, somebody did. And the reason why is because she's alleged to have made a very serious mistake, which is applying this behavior to a police officer. So the press release from the Ottawa Police says the Ottawa Police Service Hate and Bias Crime Unit and Central Criminal Investigation Section have charged an individual following a series of incidents in the downtown area on April 15th. In the morning, the individual was taking part in a demonstration in the downtown area. While police were attempting to effect a lawful arrest, the individual inserted herself into the situation and in doing so, physically assaulted one of the officers. In the afternoon, the individual was taking part in another pop-up demonstration. So the first thing is basically trying to mess with an arrest, and assaulting the officer, if true, is a really bad idea. So that gets her on their radar. But that's not where she stops. She had a busy day. So in the afternoon, the individual was taking part in another pop-up demonstration when the victim attempted to walk near the group of demonstrators to get to their destination. An argument ensued with the individual, during which she assaulted the victim with a handheld sound amplifier. The individual then continued to verbally assault and impede the victim while they were attempting to walk away. And then third incident, finally, in the evening hours, the accused followed a different victim from a religious event while shouting hateful messages and assaulting them with a handheld sound amplifier. Now, I suspect that this was Israel-Palestine sort of protests. And yeah, I'm not going to get it to I'm not going to talk about sides here, but you can see how this could be religiously motivated. Hate is essentially the allegation here. So, she has been charged with assaulting a peace officer with the intent to prevent an arrest, obstructing a peace officer in the execution of their duty, 2 counts of assault with a weapon, 1 count of a possession of a weapon for purposes dangerous to the public peace, 2 counts of hate-motivated harassment, and a count of intimidation. Okay, so following that arrest, there's various things that can happen when you're arrested. You can be either released on an appearance notice where you just get a court date, you have to go, or there can be conditions that they put on you, so you're required to follow those conditions. But if the police decide not to release you in one of those fashions, they will hold you for a bail hearing. And if the police are holding you like this, they have to bring you before the court within 24 hours. This is a provision to ensure essentially that people aren't disappeared by the police. If you're arrested, they've got to at least bring you in front of a court to start the process, and so that you're known in the system and become aware, like the system becomes aware and begins to engage those processes and protections and so forth with respect to you. So she had a bail hearing, and so she was brought in, And initially, her hearing was stood down because she needed to talk to people and so forth. I'm not going to get into too much details. I understand there may be a publication ban, so I don't want to get into too much of what was said, etc. But after that, somebody decided to share their screen and played porn with audio. And apparently the audio was pretty spicy, I guess is the term. Um, from reports, it apparently included multiple N-word dropping. So, the court then cuts the feed because this is a problem, and they conduct a bail hearing. Now, I don't know why this person did this, but I suspect that they might have done it in order to disrupt the proceedings. And this causes the court to react by sort of shutting down the availability of this, limiting the open court, the sort of open court principle because of this behavior. And I'm worried that this is going to be a tactic that we'll see more and more. The courts probably need to up their tech game because they can limit who has the ability to do things like unmute their mic or share their screen and so forth. And so they can probably limit that to people who actually are before the court and have the ability to, like, the standing to speak up. There's problems with that too, because how do you... So it's difficult, but this is something that the courts are going to have to navigate, especially as we're going to see more politically charged or these kinds of things. How do we deal with this? Well, we got to figure it out because this is important. It's important that these proceedings are as open as possible. Now, the next question is, what happens to the person who did this? Well, I suspect there's going to be an investigation. They're going to try to track this person down. I don't know if they'll be successful, but they're certainly going to try. And when they do, they may look to begin with proceedings like contempt proceedings or something along those lines. There may be criminal charges that could apply, but a lot of them seem like a stretch. I haven't sat down and thought about it and gone through just to see if there's some niche section that could apply. But this may actually end up being something that I don't normally say this. I normally say the opposite of this, but this may actually be a place for new legislation to have laws around disruption of court proceedings in these fashions. Normally, I'm the last person who says there ought to be a law, because usually this causes issues. So, yeah, this is kind of an emerging issue, but it is literally nuts that we've got people playing porn to break up court proceedings. It just shouldn't be happening. But anyway, you might be wondering what happened in the bail hearing. Well, the details of what arguments were made and that sort of thing, definitely, if there's a publication ban, which I'm not sure on, those would be covered by the publication ban. Anything I've heard, I just can't share legally. The reason why we have publication bans for bail hearings is that at bail hearings, the person is presumed innocent, obviously. They haven't been convicted. And you don't want some of the stuff that might get said to be contaminating potential jurors, because they can say pretty much anything at a bail hearing so long as they have a good faith basis to believe it. They can make all sorts of assertions of theories that may not pan out, or evidence that is believed to exist but may not turn out to be admissible or may not be correct. So bail hearings are pretty freewheeling. A lot of things can be argued one way or the other, and that's why they're covered by a publication ban. But ultimately, Ms. Sharif was denied bail, so she's stuck for a bit. She can possibly bring an application for a bail review later, and that would be a process where she either will have to argue that the original court made an error or that circumstances have changed in some fashion. So it's going to be a little harder for her to argue for her release later on. I don't know why she was denied bail. And quite frankly, I think based on the little bit I know, and again, I don't know everything. I don't know if she's got a record. I don't know if she was on prior release. But if she didn't have any of those things, then it seems like she probably could have been managed with conditions, possibly conditions to stay away from the things that were getting her into trouble. And especially to stay away from like the specific identified victims and possibly the specific identified locations. If there's a religious facility that she was staking out and harassing people at, maybe keep her away from that. They could restrict her as to what sort of items she can carry. No weapons, no electronic whistles specifically, no megaphones, that kind of thing. But court didn't do that, and I don't know why. So anyway, I may keep up on this story just because it's kind of interesting, although I don't expect we'll see any more of this particular kind of interlude. So anyway, I already had some people asking me about this, so I thought I'd talk about it. It's a bit of a crazy story. If you're also curious about this, you can follow Karima Saad on, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, on Twitter. I'll drop a link to her Twitter below. She's been following a bunch of this, so she's a good source of information. So check that out. Please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to see more content. I also want to thank my Patreon supporters at the $50 level: Purple Dragonair, CCFR, PGAs Forever, Canada's National Firearms Association, and the Canadian Shooting Sports Association. And then at the $20 level, Lindsay Metcalf, Larry Kalniak, Kyle Fox, Drunkle of the Baileys, Cameron Johnson, Andrew Elsich, Vicky, and Dorky Dane. Thank you as well to my $10 supporters who will be in the crawl immediately following. Thank you for watching. Hope this has armed you with knowledge. See you next time.